Alright folks, so in this video I'm going to talk about why Chinese people don't pay taxes. Well, obviously this is only true to some extent. Obviously most Chinese people do pay taxes. Nobody can escape death and taxes after all. But the tax system works very different in China. So let's say that if you're someone that's working as a server at a local restaurant, right? And for example, in my hometown in Jilin, China, you're probably not going to make much. I would say you're probably going to make somewhere in between $2,500 to $3,000 of renminbi per month. You're looking at $400 US. But obviously, the cost of living back in my hometown, it's a lot cheaper versus, if you lived in New York or Toronto or Vancouver or Seattle. That is your take home. That is your gross pay at the end of the day, right? And you get to pocket every single penny of it. The only point where you get to a point where you have to pay personal income tax is where you, let's say, what do you call it? Get a real job. Let's say you went to post-secondary, you got an education, and you became a white-collar worker. You got an office job. You're now working as a consultant or something. Those people all have to pay personal taxes. Or if you went to trade school, you became a plumber or electrician, and you're making a decent salary. Those people have to pay taxes. And I think that's how the system should be. Like right now, I'm in Canada. I'm working a part-time job on top of school. And I just think it's complete bullshit that the people who are making minimum wage still have to sacrifice 15% of the income. And look at what the government's doing with all your tax dollars. They're sending it all to Ukraine. And that's where your money is going. It's an insane world that we live in. And one more thing that's very important to mention, for example, right, and if you live in the West, I know the tax system might work a little bit differently in Europe, but if you go to China, let's say, if you go to the shopping mall, you want to buy clothes or whatever, everyday accessories, you go shopping, right? Let's say if you spend $500, right? And that is all you spend is $500. All the price tags you see, right? There's no tax involved. If you see a jacket you like that's $100, it's $100. Here, everything you buy, you have to add a HST on there. And it's very, very significant. You might not think it's much, but the thing is, you're getting double taxed on everything, right? People called, the Chinese system corrupt. I think the West is way more corrupt than China because, for example, if you're someone making $100,000 a year, right? Your take home after tax is probably around 70K, right? So you've already lost 30% of your income to taxes. And on top of that, every time you go shopping, you go to the grocery store, you spend $200 on groceries for your family this week, ends up being $226. So it's like you're getting taxed 43%. And you know what's more outrageous than this is that the property tax. Now, in China, there's no property tax, okay? I don't know if many of you guys know this. So in China, if you own a home, typically it's not a house, right? It's usually a condo, okay? And the thing is, but if you bought a condo, that's yours, right? But here, it doesn't matter what piece of land, whether it's a condo or a house. It doesn't matter if you buy it outright. So in my opinion, the property tax, that is the greatest scam ever sold. You might not think it's much, right? Throughout most of Canada, it's 1% value of your property. But if you think about it, for example, I live in Ottawa right now, the capital of Canada. Any home, any decent home that's slightly above average is easily 1 million Canadian dollars. Right? That's about 750,000 US dollars, right? And if you think about 1 million Canadian dollars and 1% of that, that's $10,000 a year. That's $833 a month. That is very, very significant. And the thing is, if you refuse to pay it, the government takes your house away from you. What kind of bullshit is that? All of this just for Justin Trudeau to send more money into Ukraine. That's where your property tax dollars is going. So every time people in the West, they bring up points like, oh, we have freedom and we have democracy. Well, first of all, that's all bullshit, okay? Very soon I'm going to explain how the West is using China's socialism and they've transformed it into woke ideology and how they're trying to destroy their population. That's coming up. But, they talk about we have free healthcare. Well, part of it is free, like I said. Basically, if you include the HST and property tax, roughly 50% of income, that all goes to taxes. If you have the opportunity to leave the West, it's time to pack up your bags, buy a one-way flight, and get the hell out of here. I don't see a future here.
It's true, baby, let the light shine through.